exposes the rot at the heart of this shambolic government, the rotten hypocrisy. He should be fired for this, because when you're the Prime Minister, you take the rap for the big things, and this is a big thing.
Mandelson must have something on Starmer things.
Mandelson has something on everybody. This buffoon Andrew has done so much worse. He is sleazy, he's greedy, he's entitled.
Is the countryside too white?
I don't care if it is, you see. I mean, how dare they? That's racism in itself.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Expresso. I'm JJ Anisiobi and I'm joined by May Maloney. That's the new intro for you. May Maloney.
Who's May Maloney?
My Maloney.
Okay, I've got you, yeah. It's
Turn it on.
It's just the way you sing. It's so bad.
All right, Trouble. How have you been?
No, it's been a good week. It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
I've been talking a lot about what we're about to talk about now, Peter Mandelson. Yeah, it's been good. But what about you? You've still got a hanky in. Is it a clean one?
It's clean.
Good.
So I see you brought something from your childhood in the 1700s.
No, it's not from my childhood, you cheeky piece of work.
It clearly is.
This is a quill. Now, you know why they're very fashionable at the moment? Where's the camera? You know why they're very fashionable?
Harry Potter?
Don't be ridiculous. Traitors. They're on Traitors.
Oh.
And I just did another TV show today, and this guy called Dave Cole, he owns a shop called Pen Magic, and he was selling like 2 of these a year. Now he's selling them like there's a rush on them now because everyone wants to have a quill pen.
And he gave you one for free?
He gave me one for free, yes, which is very nice. Someone will get this as a present. Not entirely sure who, but I did have a go at it in the studio, and it's odd.
Did it bring back memories of childhood?
It did in a way.
I must not talk
I did
in
not,
class.
No, I didn't use a quill at school, but I did use an ink pen. They used to make us write with ink pens.
I used to have a Parker.
And and I just was. I mean, I actually won a prize for handwriting. Has to be said, because I did italic.
You
it's
wouldn't
like a script.
think it.
No, not for this, obviously. But yeah, and so, but I used to go home every night covered head to toe in ink. My mum had to do a wash every night because I've just done it in the studio where I've been now. The whole studio's covered in ink. It's everywhere. I just had to throw the one I used away because I've messed up the quill and I've got ink all up the stem of it.
Well, let's keep it in a box whilst you're here. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, speaking of traitors, Mandelson's a traitor to the country.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So the cops are actually investigating because apparently he may have traded secrets to Epstein in exchange for dollar bills.
Well, the allegations are that he gave Epstein, this US paedophile who'd just come out of prison for child sex offences, he gave him market-sensitive information, some about it was regarding government plans to sell 20 billion quid's worth of assets off. He gave him information about a bailout of the euro a day before it happened. Now, how much money can you make from those kind of tip-offs? I'm sure Epstein made a bundle, and who knows if Peter Mandelson didn't make a bundle.
Yeah.
And this is going to be his problem now, that he's going. I think he should end up in prison for this because this is literally traitorous. This is what he did. But I have no hope. The Met Police are investigating this. Well, the police in this country, 93% of all crimes go unsolved, so they're not likely to be able to crack this one. This is actually quite complex. So I have no faith whatsoever that they will. Also, I'm not entirely sure if the government would want this. I think they want him kicked out of the Lords. They want his title taken away, and then I think they want it to go away and sweep it under the carpet, because whatever Mandelson has done, and it looks like he's done quite a lot, it exposes the rot at the heart of this shambolic government, the rotten hypocrisy at the heart of this shambolic government. Because when Starmer made him ambassador to Washington, he knew what Mandelson was. He knew because he'd commissioned a report on him, and the people who commissioned the report said, do not give him this plum job. Because of the Epstein stuff. And he did it anyway. And he did it because I'm sure he wanted to create a relationship. He wanted Mandelson to create a relationship for him with Donald Trump. But back to Mandelson. The guy, there's always been a smell of dodginess around Mandelson. We've seen it. He's been sacked from 3 governments now. We know he helped the Hinduja brothers get passports. He accepted a 323 grand loan from Jeffrey Robinson. I can remember photographs of him being on the Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska's yacht a few years ago with George Osborne, I hasten to add. Now, what were they doing on his yacht? What are they doing messing around with a Russian oligarch and the richest man in Russia at the time? So, yes, there's always been a dodginess about Mandelson, but he was very good at his job. He was a very good spin doctor, a very good manipulator.
Yeah.
And politicians wanted to use him because it suited them. And Starmer wanted to use him because Starmer's relationship with Trump was pitiful at the time, and he thought Mandelson could maybe make that better. But none of that is the point. The point is this bloke went to the homes and took the hospitality, and we are told took money from him. He says he can't remember it, which is very convenient. But we know that there are bank statements saying that 2 separate payments of 25 grand were given to him. We know that his husband, who hasn't weathered the years very well, it has to be said. I don't know whether you've seen him. He was a very pretty boy.
He used to be a very pretty young man.
He's not now. he's fatter than you, JJ, now, and he's got no hair. But anyway, we know that he was getting $4,000 a month from Epstein, apart from the £10,000 that he got for an osteopathy course. So Mandelson was in his pay. And the fact that Epstein took a picture of him in his undercrackers was also, when you do that sort of stuff, it means that people are kind of beholden to you.
Yeah.
They're threatening. And now that picture will be used in every newspaper, I hope, in perpetuity of Mandelson and his underpants. I mean, that's just going to be everywhere. The man is rotten, and it's not enough for him to apologise. It's not enough for him to resign from the party. It's not enough for him to resign from the Lords, because the bottom line is he keeps the title. You can't take the title away from a life peer unless you pass an Act of Parliament. Now, Starmer can go on all he wants saying it's appalling and he shouldn't be in the Lords. Well, OK, if he shouldn't be in the Lords, pass the Act of Parliament that's going to take the Lord title, because you can bet your sweet life Mandelson's political life is over, but his business life is not over. He will still be doing deals, and it's very possible that he will monetize the title of Lord.
Yes.
Because that's the sort of bloke he is. If he's mixing with the rich and powerful, he will monetize that title. So if Starmer means what he says, he should pass this Act of Parliament. I think it's called the Titles Deprivation Act or something of 1917. He should utilise that and take the title away. Because the guy needs to be defrocked in every which way. He's made so many political comebacks, and he hasn't learned anything from the mistakes he's made in the past. He wanted to mix with the rich and the powerful and the famous, and he sold his soul to do that, and maybe some government secrets as well. So, he needs to have the book thrown at him. I mean, imagine if you're him today, waking up. Imagine 1 minute you're living this gilded life, and the next you're just, it just doesn't bear thinking about.
So, a source, I'll tell you who the source was. Well, it was a former MP.
Good, because I'd ask you.
Yeah.
Which former MP?
Well, I can't tell you his name.
Not. Okay.
But a former MP told me that Mandelson was a mentor to Morgan McSweeney, Starmer's chief of staff, and that's part of the reason why he got the US job, because Morgan McSweeney was saying to Starmer, he's the one who's got to do it.
He was persuading Starmer. But also remember, Starmer knows Peter Mandelson's worth in the sense that he, whatever we might think of him, he is a brilliant manipulator. He was brilliant at what he did. The fact he used it for, horrible purposes, but the fact that Starmer put a bloke in one of the most influential jobs in Washington, on Capitol Hill, where imagine the deals he could do there for himself and others, with that information. Starmer put a bloke that they call the Prince of Darkness in that role, which tells you everything you need to know about Keir Starmer. He shouldn't escape. It's, I watched what's his name, Streeting today, talking about how dreadful he is and how he has to be brought to account. All of these Labour MPs and ministers knew exactly what Mandelson was.
And they all kept quiet.
Yep, they all kept quiet, and now they're all jumping on the bandwagon because they think that by taking attention away from their part in all of this, it's going to work for them. It's really not. I mean, there's talk now that with the cabinet inquiry, Pat McFadden and David Lammy are going to be questioned again because of they were working with Mandelson when he was the business secretary. So they're going to face questions. I think a lot of Labour people are going to face questions over Mandelson, and good.
Do you think Starmer should step down as Prime Minister?
Oh man, of course he should step down. There's a million things every week. We could say that, couldn't we? But he's done so many terribly wrong, bad things that now they all just roll into one. And yes, this is in a different class, this one, but Starmer's like Teflon. If this had been a Tory Prime Minister and it'd been a Tory minister who did what Mandelson has done, I mean, can you just imagine the opposition benches? They'd be going nuts. They'd be screaming for the blood. I mean, Boris had a bit of cake on his birthday. He was got rid of for that. Look at this. I mean, this is beyond. And yet he will escape this, Starmer. He will. Yeah. He might not escape the elections in May when Labour does badly. But, he should be fired for this. Because when you're the Prime Minister, you take the rap for the big things, and this is a big thing. It's a huge thing. And he also allowed this man a plum job. I mean, he should have seen the place that Mandelson was living in Washington. I mean, it was an estate worth multi-millions with servants. I think it was a £35 million estate he was living on. And he gave that job to this bloke that we know to be corrupt. It's astonishing. Yeah.
Well, before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Let's move on, Carole, to one of your favourite people, the former Prince Andrew. Yes. Now, I don't know if Andy thought things couldn't get any worse, but here we are. Yes. Images of him. I think he looks quite devil-like when he's crouched over this girl and his eyes are at the camera and there's this light reflection in his eyes.
It's the reflection of the camera, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it looks like a devil. It looks like a devil. He can sue me. If you want Andy, you can sue me for calling you the devil.
You think it's the devil in his eyes.
Yes, it's the devil in his eyes.
Reflection of the camera lights. You know a bit about camera lights by now. But anyway, you clearly don't. Yes. The bloke you've got to feel sorry for in all this was Charles, I'm sure he'd like to put him in the tower if he could.
Yeah.
Because this man, Stephen Glover, said a really good thing at the start of the week. He said, Andrew has done more damage to the monarchy than Edward VIII, who abdicated and collaborated with the Nazis, which I think is like... and this buffoon Andrew has done so much worse. He is sleazy, he's greedy, he's entitled. But he's had everything now taken away from him that he possibly can, even his title, because Charles invoked something that took away his title.
Yes.
So if the king can do that on his brother, Starmer can do that on Mandelson. And he hasn't done it yet. Now, why hasn't he done it? I mean, that's a whole different question.
Mandelson must have something on Starmer.
Yes, of course.
Many things.
Mandelson has something on everybody, I'm pretty sure, which is why he survived as long as he has. But, the Andrew thing, it's like... There's a part of me, I mean, don't get me wrong, I despise the man. But there's a part of me now thinking when people are calling for, they're saying, why is Charles paying for this house he's now living in? Well, how else is Andrew going to pay? Because when you defrock someone in the way Andrew has been defrocked, quite rightly, when you take away their capacity to earn, their capacity to do anything, well, then someone has to pay for them. And that's Charles's, that's his now bane of his life, that he will now have to pay for Andrew for everything. So, yes, but it is astonishing that just when you think it can't get any worse for him, it really does. I was trying to imagine, we've all had pylons, haven't we, on social media?
Yeah.
And when you're in the middle of one, it's just hellish. I mean, your life is miserable. It's awful. And I'm trying to wonder what it must be like to be Andrew when every day brings a fresh heap of dog dirt on top of his head. And yes, he has been a very stupid man. So far, we're not entirely sure he's broke any laws. He's not been convicted of anything.
Yeah.
But he has certainly brought the monarchy into disrepute at a time when the monarchy is struggling to justify its existence. And all this does is say to people, we shouldn't have a monarchy. These are rich, entitled people, and they abuse it. They bring prostitutes into Buckingham Palace, which is what was alleged in the latest Epstein tranche, that Epstein sent him over a Russian girl. which he did whatever he did with her in Royal Lodge, and then he took her to Buckingham Palace for a little tour and tea. So, all of that, the public don't want to hear that that's what our royal family is doing. And Charles must be literally tearing his hair out. He's trying very hard to keep the monarchy relative and relevant. And Prince Edward, I should say, was somewhere this week, and he was questioned about it. And he didn't really have an answer. What he said was, I don't think people want to hear me talking about that. And I'm thinking, no, that's exactly what people want to hear you talking about. Come on. And that made me think that maybe King Charles has to say something publicly. Maybe he has to address this publicly and say, the family and the institution is ashamed of what has happened, of what my brother has become, and say something that is going to be oil it's going to soothe the nation, because the nation are very angry with Andrew, but they're also angry with Charles because they're saying he's never said a word about this, and he hasn't, and maybe he should.
No, but they put out a statement last year, I believe, when they stripped Andrew of his title, saying their thoughts are with the victims.
Yes.
Which I think is good enough. It's not King Charles's fault that his brothers are wronged.
It's definitely not his fault. And that's exactly how Edward recovered himself at this press conference, where he said, I don't think we want to talk about it, but let me say that we should all be thinking about the victims, and so he kind of saved it. But better that we hear it from Charles's mouth. He'd be very good at that, I think. I think he's a noble character, and I think this will have disgusted him in the way it has disgusted us. But I
think Charles should have said to Beatrice and Eugenie, "This is your father. You're both very well off. You take him in." And that way you can stay within the family. You can come to Christmases with us and do the church walk, and you can keep your princess titles. But your father's your responsibility now.
That's all very well, but one, he's supposed to not be speaking to Eugenie, or she's not speaking to him, and Beatrice is maintaining a relationship. It's not fair to foist him on your daughters. They're newly married young women. They've got young kids.
Give me a flavour.
So, they are. They're new. You do. I wouldn't want someone saying,
look after your own dad.
Have your pervert dad come?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's not. But you know what I can't believe? The story in the papers about how Fergie took the two girls to meet Epstein. I can't believe that. What would possess her, any mother, to take a child, their daughters, into the lion's den, as it were?
Yeah.
And apparently, Fergie had actually said to Epstein that, I don't know if I can say this word and we can cut it out if I can't, but she had told Epstein that Eugenie was away on a shagging weekend.
Yes.
I mean, what mother does that to a pervert?
Yeah.
To a paedophile?
The kind of mother who's desperate for cash.
Well, she asked for cash, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, we know she's been given cash, but apparently she'd said to him at some point in this conversation, I need £20,000 for my rent because such and such is going berserk. Now, I'm sure he gave it to her.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had them all in his pocket. And you have to say, Epstein was evil, but these people taking his money, what makes them any different?
Yeah.
He paid Mandelson's husband $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Why? That was on top of the 10 grand he gave him for the osteopathy course. He paid them that to keep them on side.
Yeah.
And he sent girls to Andrew to keep him on side for the influence. So, all of these people could have said no.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
You think Charles should force his brother to go to the US and testify?
There's a part of it that says he should, but however, you saw how he performed in that infamous interview.
Yeah.
Where he did so much more damage, and he lied, and he's now been exposed for lying. He would do so much more damage to the monarchy if he was put on a stand in America. Imagine what he would do and what he would say.
But if they really care about the victims, and listen, I'm with you, innocent till proven guilty. If Andy's got nothing to hide, he's going to have to go. Going to have to go and help with the investigations to help.
He doesn't have to go. There's nothing that can compel him to go. And why would he? I mean, in his eyes, he's lost everything. He's got nothing more to lose. He hasn't got a reputation. He's got no career. He's got no money. He's been chucked out of a palace, and he's now going to be living it's a rather lovely house to you and I, but not to him.
Yeah.
In his eyes, what more can they take from him? And I think in Charles's eyes, he'd be thinking, God, no, do not let him loose in front of FBI agents who will be doing like forensic questioning and will catch him out in so many areas that I think it would finish the monarchy if he gave evidence.
Wow,
I do.
No.
I think it would.
I think we'll just finish off Andy. I think if Charles publicly said, I've told my brother to go to America and to testify and to help find justice for these victims, I think the British public would be like, yeah, good for you, Charles.
I think what he should do, though, is talk about it. Whatever he says, I think he should say something, not just put out statements, because they're written by other people and it's not coming out of his mouth. We need to hear it from him, We need to hear how appalled he is. And if we see that on his face, if we see that he's genuine about that, and I truly believe he is, then I think that will help salve the nation.
Right. Carole,
right.
Question for you. Is the countryside too white?
I don't care if it is, you see. Let's talk about what we're talking. Let's explain what we're talking about here. DEFRA, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, put out a report this week saying that the countryside was too white. So a lot of these management consultants who manage parts of the countryside have now jumped on the bandwagon, and it's like they're saying is what they seem to be saying is white people should not be allowed to just live among other white people. They're kind of saying that every area, every town and city should have an ethnically, I can't say the word, diverse contingent living there because it's wrong if that's not the case. Well, no, it's not wrong. These diversity zealots have to realise that England and Wales are 82% white and Scotland is 95% white. We live in a predominantly white country and that's nothing to be ashamed of. But we're being made to feel that if white people are living among other white people, well, that's something to be ashamed of, that they're racist. They're not. And they're trying to suggest, all of these people, that folk living in the countryside are racist and would make people coming in, ethnic minorities coming in, feel unwelcome. I mean, how dare they? That's racism in itself. Has it ever occurred to them that people from ethnic minorities might not want to live in the country?
Well, so I didn't think it was about living in the country. I thought it was more about visiting.
It's about both. Because what they're trying to do is create jobs in lots of all these areas of North Yorkshire and people in the Chilterns and the Cotswolds. They're trying to create jobs and opportunities for Muslims in particular. Now, one of the things that one of these groups said that Muslims aren't keen to go in the country because they have huge anxiety about unleashed dogs. Now, you can see what's going to happen, can't you? People who've been living in the country forever are going to be told to put their dogs on leashes for some Muslim people who aren't there yet. But the bottom line is this people who are living here should be, whatever happened to adopting our culture, living as part of our culture. And this is the brigade that wants the whole of Britain to be multicultural.
What I would like to know from DEFRA is if they've actually spoken to ethnic minorities.
Exactly, and I bet they haven't.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of Muslim families don't want to live in the countryside. They like to live with other family members, kids nearby, grannies nearby, whatever. They want to live in that sort of community, and they want their elders nearby. They don't want to live in a cottage in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because you know what? There's nothing stopping ethnic minorities from going to the country now. There's not a wall around it. You don't have to pay a toll to go into the Cotswolds.
No, it's just expensive. Full stop. The Cotswolds. That's why I don't bother going
but
there.
But it's not just the Cotswolds. There's other parts of the country. It's suggesting that people who live in the country would not be welcoming to ethnic minorities, and I think that's grossly insulting to a country that has never been seen as a racist country. We bend over backwards to not be that. Illegal immigration has slightly changed that, but this has always been a very welcoming country, and it really annoys me when organisations like DEFRA try to suggest that people in the countryside are racist just because it's a load of white people living among a load of other white people. It's not a crime to do that.
No.
And the last time I looked, it's not compulsory to have ethnic minorities living in every town and city, and you shouldn't be made to feel ashamed if that's not happening in your town. Why?
Well, let me tell you someone who should be ashamed.
Who?
Suella Braverman.
Ah.
Now, I sat in this room yesterday for our 100th episode.
Right.
Like, subscribe, share.
And people had to listen to you on 100
Yes.
different occasions.
Yes, at least.
My
at
God.
least. And yesterday they were treated to me and Lee Anderson.
Oh, well, he's good. Well, he's very good.
Well, I said to him, Suella's useless. She got fired twice.
You surely didn't say
I did say that to him. So she got fired twice. She's absolutely useless. Why are you getting her involved? And he defended her, yada, 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 yada.
As he should.
Well, it looks like I was proven right, Big Lee, because yesterday, Suella Braverman and Robert Jenrick went and voted against something that they're supposed to be voting for.
But it was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
It was what
Explain what happened, Carole.
They voted to remove the 2-child cap.
Yes.
Which Farage has just said today he's going to reinstate to finance pubs. We'll talk about that in a minute because it's important we do talk about it. But the two of them were in a rush and they went into the wrong corridor. They went into the ayes instead of the nays. So they mistakenly voted for something they shouldn't have. And anyone could make that mistake. They're in a hurry. They were probably yakking.
How long have they been in Parliament for?
Yes,
they don't know the difference between that door and that door.
And you've never made a mistake. I'm sure if we went back over
I've never walked into the women's toilets. I'm going for the men's toilet. No.
No. Well, it's not quite as simple as that, as you well know. But yes, I mean, it was a rather stupid thing to do.
If they can't walk in through the right door, how are they going to lead this country?
Well, whatever they do, it'll be a better job than the current mob are doing. But it is interesting, isn't it, that Farage, who a couple of months ago was saying that he said he'd remove the 2-child cap. But I think he saved it today by saying he's going to spend that money on pubs, because it's not on pubs and it's not about a pint. It's about saving an industry. It's about saving employment hubs. Lots of people work in pubs and restaurants. And Farage knows about business. He's run small businesses for years. And so what he's saying to businesses, I will look after you, I will take care of you. And I'm afraid, I was on television with someone today who was incredibly left-wing and saying, oh, it's all about the poor people, though. I'm sorry, no. If you're poor, don't have 6 children. That's what to do. There are lots of people in this country who do work. Mum and dad both have jobs, but they only have 1 or 2 kids because that's all they can afford, and they don't want to have to claim benefits for them. And it really annoys me now that we have £100 billion benefits bill in this country, and if this government stays in for much longer, it's going to be bigger than that. We've now got a country of people who are better off not working than working, and that's a terrible situation to be in. So I think being given allowances for 2 of your kids is actually quite generous. Lots of other countries don't have it. So, but being given benefits for 6 children is beyond the pale.
I got called a Nazi last year for going on TV and saying, if you can't afford to have kids, don't have kids.
Don't have kids.
Yeah.
I don't know why that makes you a Nazi. People don't know what the word means anymore. People just fling that word around because it sounds like it's a bad word. But it's got nothing to do with Nazism. If you can't, we know that a lot of people will have more kids now because this government has removed the 2-child cap. And then when reform take it away, that might shove people into poverty because they've got kids they can't afford. Just budget, children are a massive responsibility in life, and you can't just keep having them without understanding what a responsibility they are. And part of that responsibility is being able to take care of them. And if you can't take care of them, do not expect the state to, because the state won't always do it, and reform certainly won't.
Right. Well, my Maloney.
Oh, yes. Is that going to be? We need to get that music on, don't we?
We do.
We'll have it providing you don't sing it.
I'm not sure we can afford it, to be honest.
Oh, probably not. Okay.
No, you take most of the salary.
And actually, it's My Verona, isn't it? Is it
My Corona?
Corona Verona?
My Corona.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who sang that?
Bill Springsteen? I don't know.
No, Bill Springsteen. Yeah, he's so knowledgeable on music. I can't even say it.
Your dentures are falling out, Carole. Well, that's all we've got time for today on the Daily Expresso. Like, subscribe and share. And don't forget, you can also listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Bye-bye.